Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I have something really exciting for you. This is not a sponsored video, but I have just received my 80-watt mopa fiber laser from Haotian laser. Hopefully I pronounced that right. But anyway, we are going to uncrate this thing and get it set up, and it will be a new addition to the channel, so you'll be seeing a lot more of this fiber laser. So literally, let's get into it. All right, let's see what we've got in the box. So a little bit of packaging, throw that out of the way. Then we have our JPT, this is 80-watt yttrium pulse fiber laser test data. So we got a bunch of information there in the QC. So that's for our source. Then we have the aluminum base plate the laser is going to go on. And we got some more foam. And wow, let me bring the camera over here so you can see how well this is packaged. This is pretty neat. All right. So taking a look inside the box, here we have the galvo scanning head and the laser path there. And then we have the main unit that's got the JPT source in it. So we're going to pull all that out. We've got a measuring stick there to determine our focus and all sorts of other goodies. So now that you can see how well this item is packaged, we'll continue pulling things out of the box. Let's start getting more of the stuff out of the box. So there is the measuring stick that I mentioned. It's all in millimeters because that'll let us set our focus. And you have to remember that the fiber laser source is connected to the head via the fiber optic cable. So this has got to come out carefully. So I'm going to try and unpack other stuff. So here's the rotary that was included. This is I believe a D100. So it's a 100 millimeter chuck on the front. And man, is this thing heavy. I imagine it packs a little bit of torque. I'm going to set that off to the side so that we have plenty of room for that. They definitely use plenty of foam. And we'll carefully pull this out. I love that the foam is actually cut. And then we have our, let's see, I'm going to have to pull out a little more stuff here. So we got all sorts of goodies down here. We've got this. It's full of stuff. We got our power cable there. Got a bunch of lenses and all sorts of accessories. So next thing, I'm going to pull this tower out so I can get to the cable. This would definitely be easier with two. There we go. Get that fiber cable out of the way. So you got to be careful with those. You don't want to put too much of a bend in them. So there's my motorized Z tower. The control up and down for that guy. These little bag full of accessories. We'll go through that in a bit here. Got a 70 by 70 lens, a 210, and then the foot switch as well. We've got our glasses. We'll cover those. Safety is always paramount. Get some more of this foam out of the way. So they did a pretty good job here of keeping all these cables, not coiling them up or anything. It's routed around the box. So what I am going to do swing around here and make some room. Well, that's where all the weight is. Right about there. So, get that there. Get that there. So that is everything out of the box. And we've got, they're really great about sending you information as they're building the machine. So I ordered this just not quite 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday. I want to say by that weekend, they sent me, or Pascal sent me a bunch of pictures of the laser all assembled and all the various settings, and I have a manufacture date of 11/01/2024. So this machine is only 8 days old, and it's already, to me, it took from Tuesday to the next Tuesday, and then it was delivered on a Friday. So however many days that is. Very quick shipping, and they kept me informed the entire way through the process, sent me tracking numbers, and I reached out to Pascal yesterday, told him that the machine was delivered. I wasn't home at the time, but he had already got me in contact with the support team just in case I needed any help. So they'd already sent me the owner's manual, light burn setup, all that kind of stuff. Didn't even have to ask. They definitely are taking care of their customers. So now we're going to start getting some of this stuff out, getting it assembled, and we aren't going to fire this thing up yet. We'll do that in a separate video, but we'll keep going. All right, now here's a little more familiar view. I feel kind of at home now. So we got a lot of the stuff out of the way, not assembled yet, but I just kind of wanted to go through some of the packaging. So one of the pieces that you saw me pull out here that's wrapped, I'm not going to unwrap this one just quite yet, but this is an XY table that I ordered. Gives you fine control in the X and Y axis when you're doing something, because these fiber lasers can get quite detailed. So already talked about the motorized axis there and the power cord. So let's dig in to this little baggie here of parts and see what we got. All right, this is a much more familiar spot, and I already feel a little more at home. So not assembled yet, but let's talk about some of the stuff here. So first off, what you see new here is part that I pulled out of the box that was all wrapped in foam and plastic. But this is an XY table, so it gives you really fine control in 2 directions, X and Y, for precisely placing something that you're going to be engraving. And we'll reach into this little bag here and talk about all the other stuff that it comes with. So here I have a USB 2.0 cable. So it looks like USB-A to, I don't remember what this, kind of that rounded square printer port. And that's what you can see over there. Then I also have a second USB. Looks like the same. I don't know why I have 2, but I have 2. So that's good. And then they give you all the little screws that you need, and they're well labeled. So we've got one that says laser path, one here that says rotary, the position plate, and screws here for the tower, which we'll be using shortly. And then I'm guessing this one is not labeled, so that's probably some spares. Then we have, looks like some, I think the manual says they're just practice, kind of business cards. We've got a set of Allen wrenches here that we'll need for assembly. Then we have a flash drive that has all of our software, etc. And then I have these 2 just aluminum bars. These are going to be your positioning plates for that grid there. So those are all the items that come with the unit. And we will be digging into this again shortly. Actually, I'm going to leave the screws out that I know I will need, and the Allen wrenches, because we're going to be using those shortly here as we go through the setup, which should be pretty quick and painless. And as I mentioned, the support team had already reached out to me and sent me this user guide and document. I downloaded it and printed it out so that I would have a nice copy and I wouldn't have to be referring back to the computer. So it covers all of everything that you have in there. And somewhere around here, oh, here we go. I just realized we've got these safety glasses. So already they're wrapped in a nice cleaning cloth. And this is a sealed bag. Cut into that. And I have heard that these are actually, yeah, so we have on here 200 to 480 nanometers, 750 to 2000 nanometers, and 10600 OD6 plus CE. So they are labeled safety glasses, which is nice because that is something that you're definitely going to need running a fiber laser. So I wanted to make sure that I took a look at that. It's in a nice hard case there, so keep those around. And then this user manual kind of goes over everything that you need to know, all of the stuff that is included in it, foot pedal, wrenches, etc., and then they give you pictures here that show which bag of screws go to which assembly stage. So I won't run you through all that, but let's start putting this thing together in a nice little montage. All right, so step one is going to be to attach the tower to the base plate. And just like it shows here in the user's guide, we've got the little bag here labeled tower. So we've got our 4 tower screws. Now I want to throw a shout out to a YouTube channel that I just saw for the first time last night. I think it's a relatively new channel, but I'm going to encourage you to go check it out. He made the recommendation to use a machinist square here to make sure that you get your tower square on to this base plate. Everything is very important on the fiber laser for focus and all the positioning, etc. And I would have honestly never thought to do this. So like I said, go check out his channel. He has a setup video for another one of the Haotian lasers, and I apologize if I am butchering the pronunciation of that. But like I said, he had that tip, and I think it's great. So it's pretty easy to get these things just a little off. Now I'm going to put these 4 screws in, and I'm going to kind of treat it like a car tire. I'm going to do the opposite corners first before I do too much more tightening, but we'll get those all installed and then we will move on to the next phase of installation. And this is pretty easy. Now that we got that, make sure everything is still nice and square and we can torque down on these here. There we go, nice and tight and still square. So on to the next phase. Right, now the next part is going to attach the laser path to the tower up here. I'll tell you, the first time I picked this thing up, I heard something moving and rattling, and I was like, oh boy, that's not good. But it's just these nuts here in the T-channel that are going to be attached to our tower, so they are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. So next we're going to put this up on the tower and attach these 4 screws. Now this next step can be a little bit precarious. You've got those nuts in the T-channels here, and you're trying to get the bolts in there, but you got to line the nuts up, but there's not a lot of room to work. So what I found is it's easiest to just kind of get them in a general position so you know where one is, and then position the laser path on this plate here and move it back and forth until you can see the nut, and then you can put the screw in and tighten it. So at this point I've got one installed here, and then I can, if I look down the channel here, I can see the next nut, and if I use this, this is just some PTFE tube from a 3D printer, but I can kind of push this, you know, and get this next nut into position so that I can put the next bolt in, and then so on and so forth from the back and the front until you have all four installed. Now that we have all four bolts installed, you do want to make sure that because this is made, it can move back and forth. You want to get it wherever you want it to be, but then you do need to make sure that it's actually snug against the frame, because you can see you can very easily make it cockeyed. And again, that's going to impact things. So you want to make sure that it's nice and square against the frame before tightening those four bolts. Now that we have the laser path installed onto the tower, we are going to go ahead and put in the Motorize Z axis control. So the screws are already installed here in the tower. I'm just going to go ahead and loosen those up. Actually, I'll take the top one completely out because I think that might make this a little easier. Let's see if that is far enough. Try to keep from getting my big old head in the camera frame, because I know I do that way too often. It's bad enough when I get my arms in there. Yeah. Remove that one. There we go. And then we'll put that back in. And now we have our control. And I will show you here at some point where I connected everything once we get this all put in. Now that we have the Motorize Z Control connected, we'll go ahead and connect the motor. The instructions do show you here, it says plug the connector for Motorize Z, and they show that going into the side of the laser path, which is what we are about to do. All right, so there you can see we have the motor for the Z-axis connected to the side of the laser path, and then the Motorize Z Control is right back here. It is not labeled in the instructions, but I think not all of the units are configured for the Motorize Z axis. So I actually have it plugged in here, and then it does show that there is this switch here that you can use that to switch between motorized or manual control of the Z axis. And up here you have this wheel that will control the Z axis as well. And then this handle will flip down and out of the way when you're not using it. Right, and the final assembly step is just the position plate. So that's these metal bars here, and you will see that they are wider on one side. The hole is wider than on the back side, and that's going to facilitate the placement of the head. And these are just useful if you're doing, you know, repetitive work. It's essentially, you can position them like a jig. So if you were doing, let's say, slate coasters or something, and you have everything all dialed in, you know exactly where you want your parts to be, then you're just going to go ahead and position these wherever you want them to be within the, you know, parameters of your lens, because every lens is going to give you a different working area. But we're just going to put these here for now, but they'll obviously have plenty of opportunity for places that you can put these positioning bars, our position plate. And that is that. And now we are completely set up, so we can go ahead and power it on and just make sure that things are working. Before we get to the power on stage, I did want to show you a couple things that I find very valuable that Pascal's team takes care of when you order from their company. So I ordered 3 lenses, and as you can see here on the galvo head, we'll come back and focus here. They actually do all the measurements and make sure that you have focal distances set. So depending on which lens I have installed, that's going to be the distance from my workpiece up to the laser head. So going right to that line, it's going to let me know that that's the focal point. And over on over on the laser source itself, they've also put these stickers on that have all of the parameters for the various lenses. So you can see there the 70, the 110, and the 210 lenses that I have here. And then you've got field and offset and angle, and then all of the correction factors as well. So those are, it's great to have those already dialed in, and I'll be able to enter those into my software to have the best engraves possible. I know. I keep saying that we're going to power this thing on soon, but bear with me. So one of the other things that I learned from that laser nerd is the importance. Well, he kind of points it out in his video. I knew it was important before, but whatever. You want to make sure that the galvo head is parallel to your working plane, because otherwise, if it's tilted at all, you're going to have a difference in focal length or depth, or the focus point. You know, what may be in focus here isn't going to be in focus over here if it's not perfectly level. So I have a digital angle gauge here. I'm just going to zero this so it's zeroed here. And now if I bring it up to my head, and I got to move the camera so you can see this, what we see there is it is not zeroed. So there's a couple screws in the back of the unit here. There are 4 screws that attach the galvo head to the laser path. So I'm going to just loosen those up real quick and then tweak this so that I get that level. All right, everything is connected, so let's see if it will power on. We have our e-stop, so that is pushed in, so we need to turn that so it'll pop out. We've got our galvo power here. The green light is good. We've got our laser switch. You can hear the fans running, and we have control of our Motorize Z axis. All right, so it looks like everything is running. You do want to make sure that your Z axis cord is below this before you start running up and down, or you'll get a little pinch point there. This is pretty cool. You've got a little knife blade kind of pointer right there on the axis, so you can get that rough idea. But then, as I mentioned before, they've gone ahead and measured all of this for you. So depending on which lens you have, it tells you exactly, like this says 423. So I would be able to just bring this right to the 423 mark if I had my 200 or 210 lens on there. So really cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. The 80 watt mopa fiber laser from Haotian Laser Company. So super excited to have this as part of the team, if you will. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If you learned something today, drop a comment. Let me know. Do you have a mopa laser? What do you use your laser for? I'm always interested in new projects, and this is going to open a few doors for me. So as always, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little bell so you know when I drop new content. And as always, let's just keep on learning, burning, and creating together. Take care, everyone. Bye.